In the realm of celebrity, dating, relationships, and marriages are often fleeting. While some unions simply do not endure, others are abruptly severed by the tragedy of death. Despite such heart-wrenching circumstances, some celebrities have embraced second chances at love. On the other hand, a notable number have struggled to move beyond their grief. Here are 11 stars who, after the death of their partners, never remarried. Iman. In 1992, Somalian-American model Iman married British singer David Bowie, whom she met through a mutual friend 2 years prior. Despite their initial perception as an unlikely pair, they went on to create one of Hollywood's legendary love stories. However, their fairy tale ended tragically in January 2016 when Bowie passed away from liver cancer at 69. Despite public references to Bowie in the past tense, Iman insists he remains alive in her heart, forever her husband. Celine Dion. In 1980, 12-year-old Celine Dion met René Angélil, the man who would become first her manager and then her husband. Though they started working together the following year, their relationship took a romantic turn a few years down the line. In 1987, Dion went on her first date with Angélil. The couple would later go public with their romance, eventually getting married in December 1994. Sadly, in 2016, Angélil tragically died of throat cancer. As for whether she would ever consider remarrying, Dion remains skeptical. Liam Neeson. Known for his action film roles, is also remembered as the love of Natasha Richardson's life. They met on Broadway in the early 90s, married in 1994, and had 2 sons. Despite their Hollywood-worthy love story, tragedy struck in March 2009 when Richardson suffered a head injury during a ski trip and passed away. Neeson has remained unmarried since then, consistently praising Richardson. He keeps her memory alive by visiting her grave regularly. Yoko Ono, known for her contributions to art, music, and activism, shared a creative partnership with John Lennon of the Beatles. They met in 1966 and, despite Lennon being married to Cynthia Powell, started a romantic relationship. After Lennon's divorce in 1969, they married in Gibraltar. However, their union ended tragically in 1980 when Lennon was assassinated. Since then, Ono has remained unmarried, though she had a long-term relationship with artist Sam Havidtoy at some point. Mel Brooks. The first time Mel Brooks set his eyes on Anne Bancroft on Broadway in 1961, he knew he wanted her in his life. They married in 1964, and 8 years later, their only child, Max, was born. Sadly, after 4 decades of marriage, Bancroft passed away in June 2005 due to uterine cancer. Despite being in his 90s, Brooks never dated or remarried, explaining that being married to Anne Bancroft made others seem unappealing. Courtney Love. Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love quickly formed a connection in January 1990 and married in February 1992 in an intimate Hawaiian ceremony. They welcomed their first child, Frances Bean, 5 months later. Despite facing challenges, their marriage was marked by a significant amount of love. Unfortunately, their union was cut short by tragedy when Cobain died by suicide on April 8, 1994. Despite being linked to various men over the years, Courtney Love has never remarried. Martin Short. Nancy Dolman, Martin Short's late wife, passed away from ovarian cancer in 2010. The couple first met in the 70s during their early acting careers, marrying in 1980 and having 3 children. Even years after her death, Martin Short remains connected to his late wife, finding it challenging to move on given the strength of their bond and the longevity of their marriage. Debbie McGee. Magician Paul Daniels passed away in March 2016 at the age of 77 after a brain tumor diagnosis, leaving behind his wife of 28 years, Debbie McGee. Struggling with the reality of Daniels's death, McGee has kept her grief private. Although not publicly linked to anyone since her husband's passing, McGee appears open to the possibility of finding love again if it happens naturally. Rick Moranis. Known for his role in Ghostbusters, demonstrated fatherly commitment by taking a break from Hollywood in the 90s to focus on raising his 2 kids, Rachel and Mitchell. His late wife, Ann Belsky, passed away from cancer in 1991. Although Moranis has returned to the big screen, his love life has remained unchanged. Since Belsky's death, the Spaceballs actor, now in his 70s, has chosen to remain unmarried, indicating that he is not seeking to replace the love he shared with his late wife. Betty White. After 2 brief marriages, Betty White found enduring love with television host Alan Ludden. They first met in 1961 on Ludden's game show Password, and 2 years later, they married in Las Vegas. Their beautiful love story lasted 18 years until Ludden's passing from stomach cancer in June 1981. Despite his absence, White held his memory close to her heart until her passing on December 31, 2021, at the age of 99. Her final moments were spent calling out to Alan Ludden. Lastly, Joan Rivers. Rivers experienced 2 marriages in her lifetime. Her first husband, James Sanger, resulted in an annulment after 6 months due to his undisclosed aversion to having children. In 1965, she married film producer Edgar Rosenberg, but tragically, after their dismissal from The Late Show with Joan Rivers in 1987, Rosenberg died by suicide. Until her passing in 2014, Rivers chose not to remarry, perhaps influenced by the challenges she had faced in her relationships. Thanks for watching.